Welcome to Mr. Marr's 3-Minute History. Quick summaries about a range of different history topics. Today we're going back to one of the events that played a role in helping the Nazis gain power in Germany, the Beer Hall Putsch. This was the first event that really brought Adolf Hitler to public attention in Germany. The Beer Hall Putsch took place in November in 1923. However, before we look at the event itself, it's important to understand the events that led up to this, and there were a variety of these. The overwhelming one was the issue of economic chaos. Germany throughout 1923 had been suffering from an event known as hyperinflation, where prices hugely increased. This resulted in issues such as high unemployment, homelessness, people losing their life savings, and other problems connected to this. As a result, there was huge anger towards the Weimar government, and many extreme groups, including Hitler's group, wished to exploit this. There were other issues as well. Since the establishment of a new Weimar Germany after World War I had come to an end, many Germans were unhappy with this system for different reasons. Many wanted a return to a Kaiser-type leader, others simply mistrusted democracy, and there were also those who believed that the revolution had not been substantial enough and that Germany should have a more communist-style government. Hitler was in a good position to try and exploit this to overthrow the government. As such, Hitler sought to try and gain political support. And one evening, some of the politicians that Hitler believed had supported him but not enough were holding a public meeting in a beer hall in Munich. Hitler, who was angry at the failure of these politicians to properly back him, marched around 600 of his supporters to the meeting and took over the hall. There was an air of extreme violence and threat throughout. Some accounts suggest that Hitler ran onto the stage waving a gun, screaming that the national revolution has begun. The politicians who'd been leading this meeting were taken to a different room, and Hitler and other leading Nazis gave speeches to the crowd. Eventually it became clear that the next action was not quite certain. Hitler proposed taking local politicians hostage and using them in negotiations. Eventually, though, it was decided to march into the centre of Munich. Hitler led his original 600 followers, but also some of the people who had been at the beer hall meeting chose to join them as well. When in the centre, they came in contact with the police and a shootout occurred. 4 police officers were killed and 16 Nazis. Many of the Nazis then fled and dispersed, and Hitler himself was arrested 2 days later. After his arrest, Hitler was put on trial for treason. The trial took place between February and April of 1924. The trial was a propaganda triumph for Hitler and the Nazis. Hitler used his time in the dock to give speeches which were publicised across Germany and helped him gain publicity and popularity, and helped the Nazis do exactly the same. Indeed, there was so much support for him that some of the judges came very close to acquitting him of treason, even though it was quite clear that he had in fact tried to overthrow the government. Eventually, though, they were given him a sentence of 5 years in prison. This was the most lenient sentence possible, especially given that he was to be subject to no hard labour as part of this, and in reality he would end up only spending a few months in prison.